okay, now here's the problem. We got to get real. Because we know ultimately with delineation, we are trying to push really, really for reparations. That's really, you know what I'm saying? That's like the top of the, you know what I'm saying? The ultimate goal. With the bi-ethnics, man, gets a little complicated. Not gonna lie. Because what about these? First of all, you have some bi-ethnics, again, who go their whole life not identified as FBA. That's number one. You can only thing that qualifies you as FBA is if you got an FBA parent. You just gotta have a lineage, baby. It's a lineage. That's it. So you could have a FBA father, kind of like Amanda. Let's get off her. Let's say you got a Puerto Rican father, okay, and you got you got a FBA father but a Puerto Rican mother. And all your life, you was primarily raised by this Puerto Rican mother, okay? Now, you was raised here in the States. Let's say you was raised here in the States, but you was raised with your Puerto Rican mother. You don't know your foundational Black American daddy. You was raised in a Puerto Rican community. You went to school. You pretty much grew up, and you look Latino. People don't even look at you and think that you're FBA. They think that you're some sort of Hispanic. Well, that person technically still qualifies for FBA. I mean, for reparations because they're FBA lineage. But it does get a little complicated because this is a generational thing. So what if they marry somebody that's non-FBA and then their child is technically still FBA, but neither one of their parents are full FBA. So does that child get reparations because they still on this land? Are we going that route? Or are we even if you want to take it to the other side, like, let's say somebody is fully FBA. They out the country. I got a sister, fully FBA. She lives in DR. She's married a Dominican man. Their child is half Dominican, half FBA. They don't look FBA. I'm gonna just be real. My sister's children, they look like some fucking Hispanic children. They look like Latinos. Do they deserve reparations? Especially if they get older and marry non-FBAs. Would they deserve So it's like, when you think about, and I know this is going off into like a later conversation because for right now, we all know.
Yeah, this is deep.
It is deep.
It's deep.
But I know that, because I don't want to deter from the fact that, of course, people try to use this as a talking point to be like, well, this is why we can't get reparations. It's too, we can't even tell who's who.
They'll say it's too confusing. It will never work. It'll never work.
That's not the point. That's not the point. Because we know, we qualify. Both our parents FBAs. Our ancestors stayed. Some of our ancestors went to Canada. They not getting American reparations. So I got to keep that energy for if you leave, even if it's now. Why would I fight for you to get quality? Why would I think that you're equal to me getting reparations and I had to stay here and endure? Even if it was 5, 10, 16 years, I still had to stay here and you left. And you had children over there. Then you brought your children back over here just to reap the benefits that my people your people too, but our people who stayed here and had to endure and get the same thing as them, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, and it does make things a little bit more complicated because it can be used for, well, see, reparations is the whole concept, who gets it, who doesn't get it, which is one of the biggest arguments. Oh, we can't do it. It's just too complicated.
Right.
But the thing is that it also benefits the conversation because then people would be all like, you know what? Well, Black Americans, they traveled everywhere. So do we go to the UK and give them reparations? Do we go here? No, there does need to be a cutoff point. There is a way, lineage, we do have a certain bloodline and ancestry that can be shared, but lineage still can be severed. All right. Your lineage can be cut off, you know, or too distant for you to even make the claim, really, for you to strongly make the claim. If you left, for instance, we have foundational Black Americans who went to Liberia, okay, hundreds of years ago, right? They wouldn't be entitled to reparations. They have the bloodline, but by them abandoning the nation, okay, and going someplace else and living there as a citizen there, you've cut it off,
right?
Okay, yeah, the bloodline is there, but we can't go with reparations by bloodline. You know how tricky that can get. That's gonna get real tricky. That's gonna be dicey. Okay, you're gonna have some damn $5 FBAs, some white $5 FBAs, blue eyes, blonde hair.
They already doing foundational white Americans. I'm not surprised.
Either my great grandma was Black, man. He's already gonna have that. Yeah. So we need to be a little strict when it comes to certain things. So that way, when it comes down to, okay, we're finally at this point, it's not confusion. Okay, we got to get stuff in order now. You can leave, Okay, especially if you leave and it's not like you left and then came back, or you were living in both places. You left to leave, okay.
Yeah.
You left to leave, okay. That means you forfeited America. You forfeited the claim to the lineage, okay? At least the reparation claim to the lineage, okay? Because if we do it, then now we're going to have to go all around the world and find any FBA who left and say, okay, well, you get reparations even though you've been living in Ghana for 60 years, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be, that's too much. That's too much. And that's going to mess the whole thing up, you know? There has to, like you said, our family stayed here. Most foundational Black Americans stayed here. The cause for reparations, even though it's a debt that is owed, the cause is really to repair the community.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that in DR. You're not going to do that in Ghana, in Liberia.
Or Canada.
Or Canada. Mexico. Come on now.
It's not going to happen. So I'm like, I really do. I feel for the FBAs. I like, shout out to BX. That's who moderate on Afro's Lives when we do the panels.
Shout out to BX. Thank you, BX.
Shout out to BX. But she said a very, I think she made I don't know if she created it or, I don't know, but shout out to her. She's the first person I ever heard say it. But she said FBA Diaspora. And I'm like, I like that because it does explain the complexity of our lineage, you know what I'm saying, of our group. And so, yeah, you like you said, you got the FBAs, but again, even though y'all a part of us, there has to be boundaries, okay? And I definitely agree with that. I want to switch over a little bit.
And we can have a further conversation about it later, but you know, for now, I think that's our stance for right now.
Yeah, for right now, I think that's, again, because, ultimately, this will be a later conversation regardless. Again, we know who's FBA. So if you got to figure it out, nigga, you got to get to the back of the line. I don't get your ass to the back of the line, because we know we FBA. So we get our check regardless. But I want to switch it up, though, because I love the delineation movement. We've been on this for a while. A problem I'm starting to see, though, some of these Negroes on the internet, man, it's really mainly on the internet. I'm going to say this. Some of these Negroes, y'all got to chill. We are calling other FBAs tether. We are calling other FBAs. We damn near trying to strip their lineage from their ass. Because we are in disagreement. We cannot do that. We know me and you for sure are two of the biggest voices that's like, FBA is not no damn organization. It's not a group. It's not a hate group. It got nothing to do with MAGA or any sort of political organization. It's a lineage. That's it. But then you got niggas on the internet like, oh, man, this nigga, he got a white girl. Man, that nigga talking like that. Man, that nigga from Nigeria. He lied. Man, that nigga from... It's like, okay. And don't get me wrong, because we done called it a couple times. Some of these tethers really do be lying. Some of these people do be pretending to be us, and we got to call it out, for sure. But some of us, real life, we have different perspectives. You know, Black people always let us say we're not a monolith, and it's true to a degree. But we have to understand, we got to give each other more empathy when it comes to these conversations. You know, with having disagreements, being on opposite sides of the spectrum, it's like, yes, certain things are big red flags to me. I may mark you off of my head as a coon if you say, or as, anti-Black, like, that's not my cup of tea. But also, certain things you just got to learn to kind of, like, certain people are just going to have that opinion, that stance, you know? So we can't keep making this argument that it's, or not even, it's not an argument, because that's what it is. This FBA is a lineage. But we have to check those of us who try to skew that narrative of it, because they're trying to act like there's a standard or qualification outside of your parents or your bloodline that makes you FBA. And there's not. I'm not liking that.
Yeah, it's about the lineage. And the thing is that when you see people do that, it kind of makes the whole, because the lineage is a lineage. FBA is not a movement. FBA is a lineage. There is a movement of FBAs, but FBA itself is just a lineage. Exactly. Everybody in the lineage is not a part of the movement, you know, and the movement predates the term FBA. We've been advocating for reparations before the term FBA came up. We've been trying to hold white supremacists accountable and dismantle the system of white supremacy before the term FBA or ADOS ever existed, you know, so it's not that. But the thing is that now that we have people framing FBA as a group, organization, a cult, or whatever the case is, it doesn't help the argument by saying anybody you disagree with is is non-FBA. You can suspect it, and a lot of times they do lie. A lot of times they will hide their immigrant background, but to use it as a cop-out can actually make the whole message and the whole grassroots narrative look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, it can make it look like, okay, well, y'all saying it's not an organization, yet anybody who don't agree with y'all is not FBA. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not the case, okay?
Yeah.
We've always known that there's been coons in the lineage. There's been people off code in the lineage.
Always.
Or there's people who just don't agree with certain things. There's FBAs who don't agree with reparations. There's FBAs who don't think that racism is that bad. Unfortunately, not too many, thankfully. But no, we have some, and they are just as FBA as you and I, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? So in order for us to get the message clear, so it doesn't get rebranded or tangled up into some cult or organization or whatever, we got to be honest. Okay, you can be FBA and you can be on code. You can be FBA. I feel like it's a spectrum. Like us, we all about Black empowerment. There's some people who are kind of pro-Black every now and then there's some people don't care. And then there's some people who coons. So it's kind of like a spectrum thing going on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying with that. Tether's not so much. It's like you either solid or you all the way off code. They don't have, it's black and white with them. The thing is that sometimes you can tell when somebody is FBA or not, and sometimes you really can't. Sometimes you cannot. I'm going to be honest. If you look at Candace Owens and you didn't know who Candace Owens was or her background, you wouldn't be all like, oh, she's from the Caribbean. You can do that.
But if she got her hair done. Because some of them silk presses.
When she was doing the bad weaves and all that,
she was
shit.
With the bad weaves, yeah.
You know. But like, some people you didn't know. Mark Lamont Hill.
I did not know he was not FBA. I literally just learned that right before we started this. He told me that. I had no idea. That's insane.
He's not FBA. You know what I'm saying? There's some people now, for instance, if you look at Myron Gaines, you can tell, you don't look FBA. I'm saying there's some of them who stick out like a sore thumb, and then some who don't. So this is why our vetting needs to be a little bit sharper. You know, so instead of just going off a look, sometimes you got to go off, or even accents sometimes too. Sometimes you just got to go off of the vibe. You got to give them a certain vibe check, and sometimes, even if you suspect, because they might be Pan-Africanist, that you suspect are FBA, but they just like, no, Africa's great. They might be FBA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and trip you up.
We shouldn't do, if you agree, you're FBA. If you're not if you don't agree, you're not FBA. And the reason for that is because people take that and be all like, man, y'all don't think anybody who disagrees with you is FBA. Yeah, that's not. You can't make the argument that this not a organization. We're not a monolith, but if you don't agree, you're not in. You know what I'm saying? So it hurts the argument and really the progression of the movement as a whole.
Yeah, and it honestly, it makes it easier for these detractors to frame it as, as an organization. And for some people, I just want to ask, like, is the ultimate goal... Is the goal justice or for you to win a damn debate, win an argument? Because for some of these Negroes, again, it's mainly online, thank God. But for some of these Negroes, it really just feels like some sort of like some sort of, I don't know, like a power, almost like a high you're on. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to go back and forth with people and win these little arguments. And it's like, bro, at the end of the day, we're doing this to be constructive, to add to the progression of our people. We're trying to get reparations. So these are things that we're working towards. You're supposed to be actively working, not just to be debating, just to be saying you won and you expose somebody as a tether. Oh, nigga, I knew you was a firm. It's like just to say I got you, for some people. And it's like we losing the plot. So yes, FBAs have been some of us have been losing the plot by trying to act like some people, deter from the conversations and act like we put lineage on people that they're not. But even going back to some of these actual tethers and some of these Africans, because some of these Africans are in our spaces and don't act like that they're us. Or they come to our spaces. Some of them even pretend to be bi-ethnic just so they have some sort of validity in our spaces. And it's getting weak because we're seeing some of the same narrative being spewed by these non-FBAs, in particular the Africans. There's a whole thing with the whole, I don't know if we talked about this on the last one. I feel like we didn't actually say this word, but African booty scratcher, did we talk about that particular term? I feel like we didn't bring that up, that particular term.
I don't know if we brought the term up. We did kind of bring up the fact that they claim to be bullied or xenophobia or something like that. We brought that up. False claiming xenophobia. African booty scratcher, I don't remember.
I don't know if we brought that up. Now, African booty scratcher, I know we've talked about it on live. We've talked about it before. I don't know if we've said it on a particular podcast. But like we've said before, African booty scratcher is not a specifically for Africans. We'll call a Caribbean that. We'll call another FBA that. That's just I don't even know how it came about, to be honest. Do you know the origins of that? Did it come from a show?
It came from like a comedy show or movie or something like that. And you know how kids, they see something insert a movie. Oh, I'm going to use that. You're an African booty scratcher. Like that.
Okay, gotcha. So not the same as a kata that was actually created specifically to insult foundational Black Americans. Not the same. So these people really like to bring up these false equivalencies to validate their experiences. But it's dangerous because, again, some of them are pretending to be us. Some of them are saying, oh, well, you know what makes it even worse is that some of them aren't even just pretending to be us. Some of us some of them are trying to erase us and to make their experience more valid. So they'll say, oh yeah, well, I'm first generation Caribbean and African, but I've been here my whole life. I've never been back to Korea. I only know about Black folks, so I'm basically y'all. But y'all still call me, I've been called an African booty scratcher, and I've da-da-da-da. So it's like they try to dip in and out, which is weird because just because you were born here and you haven't been back to your actual homeland don't make you me. I don't know how it feels to have a homeland to go back to because I'm already in it. So we're not sharing the same experience whether you think so or not. But some of these people will really think like, oh, well, because I'm in the same space. We go to the same school, so I'm living the same experience as you. And so I don't think I should be excluded from certain insults. So I should be excluded from being pushed out like others or looked at as others when I'm not other. I'm you, and you're not me.
Like an honorary FBA.
Right. Yeah. And you're not me, and it's very weird because we don't do that in other groups.
No.
We've never gone to Jamaica and tried to become it's weird. I got a sister in DR. She's not trying to become. She knows she's not Dominican.
Yeah.
The states, their government will makes it very clear in their paperwork that she has to sign. She's not a Dominican. So these other places, they don't do that. But it's, again, when it comes to here, and again, that's why I'm like, they're playing this dangerous game because it's hard for us to tell because we don't do that. It would be different if this was a game that we played, but we don't play this game.
The thing is what is particular with us in this nation is the fact that we had an ethnogenesis.
Right.
So there were Black people who were indigenous. We already discussed that, scientifically proven. There was a slave trade. They brought most of them to South America, but they did bring some to, the United States or whatever the case is. And then there was mixing with that. Then you got some European here and there. So there's a mixture of that. But all in all, there was an ethnogenesis. Your name was stripped from you. Your religion was stripped from you. Your culture was stripped from you. Your family. So we had to make something from scratch. We originated with the origin of America. So us in America are rooted together. Okay, we're intertwined. There's no difference. They're not coming with an ethnogenesis. Okay, there's nothing that's cutting off their lineage from the Caribbean or from Africa. Like you saying, they can just go back home. They still got citizenship back there. A lot of them still know the language and all that stuff back there. Yeah. They can go back home and then fit right back in. We can't go anywhere outside of America and just fit in, fit like a glove, because we don't belong anywhere like that. We belong here. This is our homeland. Now, if you want to leave, you can leave, but you can't leave and go home anywhere else because this is home. They're coming over here, even if you did have a full FBA experience or whatever the case is. There's the lineage is not in you. It's like you're in the culture, but you're not of the culture. Right. Okay? Very big difference. You're in it, but you're not of it. Your grandmother didn't teach you what our grandmothers taught us. Your family didn't cook the same foods that our family cooked us. Your family probably didn't listen to the same music, okay? They didn't have the same traditions, okay? I didn't grow up celebrating Haitian Flag Day or Puerto Rican Flag Day or Nigerian Independence Day. I didn't grow up with any of that stuff. They did.
Yep.
So even if you did, okay, or whatever the case is, that doesn't give you a right to be an honorary FBA, and it damn sure doesn't give you a right to claim to be a spokesperson or to have your opinions heard other than somebody who's an immigrant. Okay, they want to be elevated, but like, I've been here for a long enough time, so that should bypass the fact that I'm an immigrant. And no, it doesn't. If I spent my entire life somewhere else and they know I'm American, I can't be all like, but I kind of been in Jamaica for so long, so I'm kind of like a Jamaican. They gonna be like, no, Bumbaclot, no, you're not. No. They gonna be like, no, so no. Okay.
Especially when these other backgrounds, again, different. A big distinction between these other cultures and ours is that we don't have that anti-black vitriol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we ain't going to. Well, they don't have family reunions, but we don't go to family gatherings and we're hearing, oh yeah, those Puerto Ricans are so something, those Nigerians are so those guys. We're not hearing that. Okay, like the most we're going to go is like Southerners. We might talk about each other, like, oh man, them Northerners, I hate damn New Yorkers. They be da-da-da. And that's if you got family. Then you might be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a family roasting kind of. It's different. There's a more innocent layer to it. Some of these other groups, man, it's not the same. Their backgrounds are a lot more diabolical and a lot more anti-black.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know black. I'm not black. I'm Dominican.
The whole thing. We don't grow. I ain't never heard my granddaddy say, I know black. What are you talking about? Everybody in my family I've ever heard growing up identified as black. That's been a consensus, general consensus all across the board. For these bi-ethnics or for these African first gens, whatever, tethers, whoever they are, it's just not the same, baby. We are not the same. It's not. But I think this was a great first 2 episodes.
Yes, it is.
I think we did a wonderful job. I'm so
Y'all
proud
put in the comments, let us know what you think.
Yes, for sure. Definitely let us know in the comments. Share the video, please. Subscribe to our individual channels. Mine is ZZ Rants on everything, TikTok, YouTube, X, everything.
Afro Elite, everything, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. All of the good stuff. Afro Elite, very simple.
Did I say ZZ or ZZ Rants?
ZZ Rants, you said that.
Okay, my bad. I'm tripping. Anyways, this is a great episode. We're going to see y'all on the next one. Peace. Be one.